Hello dreamers, I'm back with another one of mine. So I invite you to explore with me the private recesses of my unconscious. So grab your chamomile tea and we're gonna start. So in last night's dream, I was sitting on a couch with a woman in a cafe or restaurant and it was empty. After chatting, I decided that I really liked her, so I suggested we move to a table to turn our meeting into an actual date. I was thinking about ordering a Coke or soda, and she was looking at the menu. I told her, thinking she was going to get a drink as well, to get as many as she wanted. And then the waiter came, and my date asked if she could have a roast beef sandwich on a bun, but if he could cut off a tiny piece to create a little sandwich out of it on the side. At this point, the waiter got angry and said, "No, how could I possibly do that? I'm blind," implying that this would be a dangerous and impossible task for him. He left, I guess, to go back to the kitchen, and I decided that we should leave at that point because he was pretty scary. So my date went out before me to get our car, and then I went out. I was actually running toward the road, hoping my date wouldn't leave me kind of unsure about if I would see the car, if it would stop for me. I did see the car. It was white and kind of boxy, and it has some kind of red text on the side, so it almost looked like a commercial car. And I was racing toward it, feeling that the waiter was chasing me. But finally I got in the car to my relief, and we drove off. So here is my Jungian interpretation. At least that's what I'm calling it. And I did actually get the book that I ordered on Jungian analysis, and it's sitting outside my door in a package, so I need to get it. All right, so I often dream of either very crowded places or empty, mostly empty places. So this was an empty cafe and restaurant. In Jungian analysis, locations or places, whether they're your home or an apartment or a hotel, etc., they often represent states of mind. So when a place is empty, it could symbolize a private, introspective space within me, maybe something that I haven't completely brought out to my consciousness or a public space. It's something that might be, I might feel that it's a bit complicated or maybe it's a little bit repressed. It might also suggest a sense of isolation or emptiness, people not being around, or maybe just a period of solitude or contemplation. The restaurant, since that is a place of nourishment, it could represent my desire to be nourished emotionally or spiritually. But since it's empty, it suggests that, something's just not quite right, or maybe I don't have a lot of support for this. There's something lacking because a restaurant or cafe is a public place and should have people in it. So the woman, since females in dreams, according to Jung, represent the anima, the unconscious feminine aspect, Jung emphasizes how important it is to look at this in men, but for me, it's the complementary feminine part of my psyche. So my decision to turn the meeting into a date probably reflects my growing interest in integrating this feminine part of my psyche, developing a deeper relationship. I want to take it to the next level, so to speak. So since the anima is often representative, or the feminine is often representative of emotions, creativity, and intuition, my deepening interest in her represents maybe a conscious willingness to embrace these aspects. So my intention is to order drinks, which seems like maybe a little bit lacking in terms of sustenance, right? So I do say that, I do tell my date, the woman, to get as many drinks as she wants, because I think the feelings I'm having in my dream are kind of like excitement and generosity, and this could symbolize openness to emotional experience. I want the feminine energy to really express herself freely. It is, though, again, just interesting, though, that I don't think about actual food. And my choice of drink is a soda, which seems kind of like a superficial or short-lived kind of sustenance. And so it might suggest the limitation in what I'm able to imagine or hope for in terms of nourishing my emotional world. Like, I'm excited with not much. I have kind of a low standard. But my date has a different idea. So my date is, choosing to have food, which is surprising because that's what she orders when the waiter comes. And food, I think, as opposed to drinks, would represent a deeper, more substantial nourishment, something that sustains you over time and not just a quick refreshment. So my expectation was that my feminine aspect in myself would focus on a light emotional experience, maybe saying that I expect small, manageable interactions with my emotions. But she orders food in a very specific sandwich. It's a roast beef. It looked like that, and I'm just kind of applying what kind of sandwich it is, but it was like a sliced meat kind of beef sandwich, and it had like a hamburger bun kind of bread. That's what she was ordering. So that's more substantial and grounded. It's very hearty. And so that could mean that I'm being called by my anima to dive deeper into more sustainable emotional nourishment than just staying on the surface with lighter emotions or momentary pleasures. And I definitely see that I could apply that in my life. I mentioned in a previous video that all of my interactions with others, tend to be like what most people would call acquaintances, like my colleagues and my students, or, the people that I see at the grocery store or something like that. But in terms of like a sustainable kind of relationship, like a friendship or a romantic partner, I don't have those. And, I think probably there are other options for deep emotional connections as well. But for me, my life is really focused on my work and my intellectual academic work. And I do feel very passionate about it. And I feel that it inspires my creativity. But again, like, my dream is maybe telling me that that's not enough. So I have to, figure that out, I guess. So what else? Going back to the waiter. All right, so the waiter, everything in a dream, according to Jungian analysis, is going to be a part of my psyche. So this waiter is me as well. And he's kind of like, waiters are intermediaries, right, between what we want or what we're ordering and like they bring us our food. So, but he is resistant to bring us what we are asking, and he doesn't end up, we don't let him bring us anything really because we leave. Right? So, and it's also interesting that he mentions his blindness. So all of this could represent a part of myself that feels restricted, frustrated, and incapable of serving deeper emotional needs. Because I don't think in the dream I had ordered my soda, or if I did, like, that wasn't what he was talking about. He was annoyed that my date was asking for a sandwich, but also a tiny sandwich. So the fact that it's tiny, and just like, I imagined it like just like cutting off a sliver of a piece of bread, almost like the top of the sandwich. So since it's little, it might represent like a trivial emotional matter, but yet it's not, we're not able to provide that for ourselves, or be provided with that. So I would say, I don't know too much what Jung says about blindness, but I would just guess it's on par with like having no windows, or being like in the literal dark in your dreams. It represents a lack of insight or awareness. The waiter gets frustrated because he thinks that it's going to be hard for him to do this, or even dangerous. So, it's, so that kind of indicates that there's a feeling of frustration and incapability, and even danger or threat in dealing with this kind of deep, sustainable emotional nourishment. And of course, like asking to cut a piece of the bread to make a little sandwich is kind of like weird in itself. Like, only in a dream, I think, would that happen. Like, it's kind of silly. But he's not able to engage with like this silly, sort of unique, kind of quirky request. And so it may even be that, his problem is not with her ordering a sandwich, but it's this little extra thing that she kind of wants with it, and that's like his breaking point. So I don't know, I may need to explore that more, because that is really interesting. It's not just the sandwich. So basically, while the waiter is refusing to, or the waiter is like, his refusal is suggesting a lack of rapport, of support, my anima, even though she tried to order her sandwich in this very unique way, she's still kind of willing to go along with me, right? Like, I was the one that wanted to like move from the couch to the table to have a date, and I was the one that really kind of like wanted to leave, even though I don't remember saying anything. It's just, she was following basically my will. Like, as soon as I thought something or felt something, she kind of followed, except with, upping the sustenance that we were trying to obtain. So cars represent, and I'm often in the passenger seat of the car. There was only one dream that I remember recently where I was driving, and that was a really interesting dream. I might have to make a video about that. But they represent sort of like a movement, and especially like a movement in your life, like a direction your life is heading, your sense as well of control. And so I'm seeing the woman is the one that's taking the lead. So maybe this symbolizes my desire or need to allow my emotional and intuitive side to guide me forward. The white boxy car is kind of almost alarming because it seems kind of clinical or kind of professional, combined with, since there was red text on the door, that was so odd. And red could be like passion, but it also could be danger. So if you have any ideas on that, let me know. I'm not exactly sure how to interpret that, but we get into the car and drive off. So it indicates that even though there's anxiety about this situation, there's also a sense of safety and trust in letting this feminine part of us take control. And, even though we had kind of a failed sort of experience with getting the kind of sustenance we need in the very particular kind of, I don't know, almost like artistic or silly way that my anima asked for it, which I also need to think about what that means, as I mentioned. We're still together. We leave together. So who knows where our next adventure could be, right? Maybe we go to another cafe or a restaurant, but there's still possibility because we're not separated. She didn't leave me. She didn't, she wasn't demanding. She was receptive to working with me on my level as I could. So I think overall, the dream is just encouraging me to trust my feminine energy more and explore aspects of myself that feel sort of blocked from allowing for deeper emotional nourishment, even in my own sort of unique or quirky way, apparently. So that's what I'm thinking. So interesting again that there's food in my dream. And as I mentioned in my general Jungian Dream Interpretation video, when you see recurring or repeated patterns in a dream, it means that you're not addressing those needs in real life. That's why they keep showing up, right? Once you address them or heal what it's telling you to heal, learn the lesson that your dream is telling you to listen, then you won't see those symbols in your dream anymore unless, they're needed in the future for another lesson, or there's a deeper level of that lesson to gather and learn from. So, I guess the difficult thing is not only interpreting the dream, but then it's figuring out, how to follow that instruction and then heal yourself. So I don't know. So I guess the easiest way to do that is just to let your therapist know what is coming up in your dreams and, trusting that as what you need to work on next. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. As always, please feel free to put down your dreams below. And if you want me to analyze them in the same way that I analyze my dreams, then I can do that for you in the comments. Or if you just want to share and interpret your own dreams, then that's, I think, fun for everyone. And also just let me know if you're, interested in this series and you are okay, you want me to do more of them. I usually just have the perspective that I follow my passion and I just kind of do what I want and need, but I also want to know what you all want and need as well, because I care about your interests. All right, I'll see you next time. Sweet dreams.